Hello and welcome to MFL with Laird. I am Andrew Laird here today with a very special guest for a big announcement that has kind of already been announced, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Joining me today, MFL CEO Mathurin. How are you, sir? Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm doing great, and super excited to deep dive into this announcement.
Yeah, it's a big one of which I feel like I've already watched this stream because I watched the one with you and Jimbo from a couple of days ago. And we're going to get into kind of some of the same stuff, although I do have a few other questions. Appreciate everyone coming in, including Jimbo, who went with #baguette. That was a tough one as well. But really the big news is this introduction of trial clubs allowing players to play MFL for free. And I wanted to go into a little bit of why you guys decided to make this decision and kind of what it means for, obviously trying to get people to join the platform.
Yeah, so I think why we decided to make this decision. Basically, it's something that we've been thinking about for a while. Obviously, like when you look at gaming or when you look at a lot of stuff on the internet, there's always a way to kind of try the product for free. It's a way to get people in to make sure they can test the game, they can test the product, and if they like, they can continue. So that was something that was in our mind for a while. I mean, even before starting MFL, when you're like speaking about gaming, you know that there is something like a part of free to play or free trial that should be there at some point. Over the last few years, we've really focused on building the game, not really focusing on acquisition, but more focusing on building the game mechanics, the gameplay, the core loops, making sure that we have a game that is fun, that people like to play, that people enjoy. And because I think it's you cannot start acquisition or thinking about how you get new users on board if you don't have a strong product and something to for them to play and to enjoy and to like. And now we are arriving to a point where we are. I think we've done like in total like 16 seasons, but if you look at like that's counting like the alpha season, like before our real launch, I would say, and we are now also like 8 seasons since we've really launched the game, and so I think the product is more mature. We have more features. We see that we have a strong product that people enjoy, that people like, etc. And so we want also like starting now to get a bit more focused on the acquisition side. And so that's why we think one of the main friction points for the users was like to really discover the product, you have to spend like $80 on to get a pack or to get one a bit cheaper maybe on the marketplace. But still, that's an upfront cost that you need to spend. And so we think that giving them the opportunity to try the game without spending that much, maybe they would still need to buy a couple of packs or like to buy some players from the marketplace. But I think it's a very good introduction for new users to start testing the game, and if they like it, they can continue.
I think what you said there about getting the platform in a place that was ready to be more, more popular, more mainstream, and you want more people to use it. Obviously, as you're growing, it's great to have a user base that's really passionate about the product and that's willing to provide feedback and be critical where it needs to be. But you don't want to be too popular when the platform's not ready. And so was there something specific that you guys kind of accomplished in the last, let's call it 2 to 3 months or 6 months, however long you've been thinking about the trial clubs, that you were like, okay, now we're ready? I know the photorealistic players was like a gigantic leap for where the platform was when that super secret project finished. Is that when you guys really said, now I think we can start pushing this out to more people?
Yeah, definitely. That was so. First, the main core loop were really like the launch of our V1 that was in November 2024. So that's when we were really thinking that the game loop were implemented that were were really like the core game loop of the game. So meaning like promotion, relegation, player retirement, player aging, player progression, all this kind of stuff that makes the game like more real and living, and like something like a real ecosystem that is living. Then we wanted like to test that, to have like a few seasons where we would be able to see what are the results. There's still stuff that we've been improving in the meantime, like adding offers, for example, like adding offers on players, adding new pack marketplace, adding player suspension, so that we've been continuing to improve the game. And yeah, I think that really the final touch that say that we have a product that we can start to at least like offer to a more mainstream audience, not really Web3 audience, was really when we did the rebrand and the photorealistic player, because we think it's a new era. We think it's a product like having like players that are photorealistic allows us to attract more, like to at least to have like the first impression on the users that is more like professional, more interesting. Like people are more probably interested in exploring the game when there's this kind of images that are more real and players that are more real. So yeah, that's basically when we said like now we want to start like getting after this audience that are a bit, that is a bit mainstream. We know that there's still some stuff to improve, especially on the onboarding, like the way that people can discover the game, etc. So this free trial club and the onboarding checklist, for example, we can speak about it a bit later. But that's stuff that we've implemented to allow easier onboarding and to target a mainstream audience more easily.
So today or yesterday was the last day of the regular season for season 8.
Yes.
I keep thinking season 9 because I'm planning for season 9.
Yeah, probably. So I mixed the season sometimes because we are planning, and so we're already projected in season 9. So sometimes I feel that we are already like next season is season 10, but no. Yep. So yeah, I get confused.
Yes, admittedly I have to check every so often, but so everybody was, the internet is very happy now because everybody gets their rewards for the season, trophies, any sort of individual trophies as well with promotions. And I tweeted about one because my favorite player, Engelbert Engelhardt here, won like a playmaker, and then I went back and I still have like a picture of his old one, and like here's where MFL has come in the last couple of months. And yeah. I think it kind of goes to show, I hate to like put down the cartoons because I love them, but it's like there just seems to be kind of a more serious level to the game now that makes it more attractive, I think, for people who may not be familiar with the game. And we'll look at these two, if you look at the image on the right versus the left, you probably just have a better feeling of, okay, this is like a real game that I can actually play. And so that's when you start thinking, okay, what are the next steps for me to do that?
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly why we did it. It's we knew that a lot of people were attached to their cartoon, and that was a hard call, of course, because we know that we couldn't please everyone, but we had to think in terms of growth, in terms of what's better for MFL, for the ecosystem. And we really think that was a really good move, and that it goes in the right direction to get more people on board.
For sure. Let's talk about the trial clubs. So this is they're going to launch in 5 days from today, but it's October 7th for those of you who are not watching this live. And I think to the purest point, it's you can play an entire season of MFL for free. And so when you guys were talking about being able to offer like a trial of MFL, what eventually led you guys to this concept of being able to run a club for an entire season? And then we'll get into kind of like how you keep the club after the season and all of that.
Yeah. So I think we explore different possibilities. Of course, we had in our mind like a different scenario, like for example, having a real free-to-play game where you can totally play for free, get some rewards, even if they are like a very low reward, and then you if you want to progress at some point, you will probably want to go to after a real club, like to get more rewards, etc. So that was, and that's probably maybe something that we are going to do in the future. But this kind of free-to-play mode are pretty hard to really design. It's not just like you take your paid experience and you just put it for free and that works. Yeah. Because no, I think you need to create another experience. Maybe like I'm thinking out loud, but if we start to have a free-to-play, that would be like probably the players wouldn't be NFTs. Maybe the club wouldn't be NFTs. Maybe the rewards. You need to have a game loop which is much faster because it's really for free, and so for user to stick with the product, because they haven't paid, they need to be more engaging stuff like almost every day, etc. So that's really a kind of a different product that you're building, I think, when you're building a free-to-play mode. I think we've seen this with other Web3 game like Sorare, for example. I think they had multiple free-to-play mode, and so that's really hard to really find the right mode and how to build it. And so you're almost building a new game or a new version of the game. And we didn't want to do that. We really wanted to try to see, like, if we remove this friction point of the price, like to test it very fast. And that's how we've been operating since day one. We really like to have like hypothesis and test it very quickly, and trying to do always the solution that will be that we can launch on the market in the quickest way possible. So that's when we started to think about this trial version, like where you can play and have the exact same experience, which is like, first, it's an advantage for the user because they have the exact same experience and they can really taste the product, how it will be like when they decide to purchase their club. And for us also, it creates like less tech and less complexity in the flow, because we can keep almost the same. So that's why we decided to go with this trial club, where you play in Flint, where you basically have a club that is given you for free, but that is off-chain, etc. But that's why we decided to go that way.
The more Web3 games you play, the more you realize it's just very difficult to build free-to-play versions of the games usually, because, like you said, they're so rare, has kind of tinkered with a couple different versions, and ultimately it's the marketplace it's just very difficult to replicate, and they're very important parts of the platforms. And so I think the solution that you guys came up with is the best version of being able to bridge the free-to-play. And we keep saying free-to-play for this season. You can spend. It's not like you're prohibited from spending. Like, you can buy players for these clubs, and there is more that you can do if, when you dive in, making the commitment to buy either a new club or one from the secondary market. We're still looking at, between $50 and $80 to start. But this trial club option gets you the club for free, but then you could, if you only wanted to put in $10 or $20, like, you could do that. It's not stopping you from spending the money. And so what I like about that is it's a free-to-play version, but it's also kind of a ease to play version. You can ease your way into spending if you wanted to. And we can get into the details of, basically, you run this club for a full season, for basically the 6 weeks that it goes, maybe a little long, couple extra days if you make a playoff, but it's not until the end of the season that you kind of have to make the financial commitment. And so if at the end of the season you say, yes, I do want to keep playing this game, you're not locked into buying that club. Like, you could just go and buy a secondary club if you want. Maybe there's a location that you like better, but the fact that you can get through an entire season before you really have to make a financial commitment to it, I think is a tremendous opportunity for people who want to try the game out.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very good, like, I think at the moment also, like, when you arrived before, like, this free trial club, when you arrived on MFL, you first, it can be a game that is complex to understand. So I think getting a free club helps you to understand also the dynamic of the game. So, for example, how I see like the onboarding process is that you create your club, then you have like you understand that you have like your formation, so you will need to fill your squad with players. So we can show you how to do it, and so probably you will get like starting to sign a bit of a few contracts, and then you will maybe have a spot that is left, and maybe say, okay, I have the pack, so you will buy one pack and probably you would have never bought this player pack, because if you have never tasted a bit the game and started to put some effort into it, you wouldn't have. But now with this free trial club, you're giving the opportunity to understand a bit more the game, and so probably I really think that we will see some trial clubs that will just like of course there will be a lot that will just like try to go the full free version like without spending, but I'm sure that we will also see some people that will come and like will arrive on the game like thinking they don't want to spend at all, and then they will start to enjoy the game and say, okay, I'm going for this pack, I'm going for this player on the marketplace because I really need this right wing back or something like that that you need, etc. So that's I think that's really interesting. It will be really interesting to measure that and see what are the results. But we're pretty confident and pretty positive about like the result it can give.
So it seems like the biggest, I guess, risk with offering a free to play option that does have rewards at the end, or multi accounting, or people trying to like game the system. You guys have built in kind of a number of, I guess we would call them kind of limitations here in terms of the players that you can bring in. So as we see here, like you can only give up 30% of the rev share, 3% max per contract, which looking at the market, like particularly the loan market, every off season, there should be plenty of options for people who want to do that. And then the 3 contracts max per agent. Were those like, how did you guys end up kind of on these numbers? Like, do you think 3 is enough or too much, or, obviously these are the numbers you think are good, but what were some of the thoughts that you guys had that brought you to those numbers?
Yeah, so just before diving in this contract and revenue, I think what is important for the person that are not aware of that to say is that the clubs are off chain also. So it's something very important. You cannot the free clubs are not. You cannot resell them, of course. You cannot trade them, etc. So they are really off chain. So if you don't use them at the end, they go. They won't create another supply of players, so that of clubs. So there's no, in the end, this free trial club doesn't create additional supply that can devaluate the price of the club, and that was something very important for us. That's why I want to mention it at first, because it's something very important for us. And when we're building new features, new gameplay, or stuff that can impact the economy, we're always thinking about our community, our owners, etc., how that can affect them. And so that's something super important. The other thing also is that as a club owner, a free trial club, you don't get the reward at the end. The rewards are locked into your club, and so if you want to claim the reward, and the result of getting rewards is that it can increase a bit the supply of players, because you use the rewards to claim a new player pack. If you want to get the access to your reward, you have to pay the price of the club and to upgrade your club. So that's something really really important, and that creates something that it's only people that are really motivated, really want to play the game, will have access to the reward. So that's really two interesting points. And then regarding sorry, Andrew, I just changed a bit the topic, but
no, please.
Important point. And then we really thought also, like, how can we prevent some abuses, or like people doing some multi-accounting, and then you loan your own player to for example, all your player to a free trial club, and then you give them like max revenue share, and so the rewards are not locked, they go to the agent directly. So that's why we came up with these limitations for the trial club. First, we think also this limitation is also fair for the users that have already paid their club. The free trial club have a limitation of 30% revenue share to sign players. So that's also like a limitation in terms of gameplay that they have compared to the people that have paid their club, and that's also prevent people to really get like 100% of the revenue share going to the agent.
Yeah.
And so due to that, we had you can only sign 3 contract max with the same agent, which avoids the case where you loan all your players to a free trial club, like to kind of bypass a bit the system. And having also this 3% max is so in the end, one agent can receive only 9% of the free trial club revenue share. So that's we think it was a good mix. And then I saw on the Discord, like some people were thinking like maybe 3 contracts is not enough. There could be 5, there could be more, but it's always like these figures. Like we try to find something that seems very good balance between offering possibilities and avoiding abuses. And they're always subject to discussion. So that's always really hard to really find the perfect numbers. And I'm sure that if we would have put 5, maybe some people would have thought there's too much. And so that's but for us, it seems to be a good balance of limitation and possibilities.
And there was a question in the chat. Jimbo answered it, but just to get you on record as well. So if let's say I loan players to one of these new trial clubs and they don't buy the club, do I still get the MFL rev share that I gave them?
Yeah, it's only the revenue share of the club that is locked. So at the end of the season, we calculate the club earnings, and then we will calculate how much revenue share is due to the agent. This revenue share will be directly sent to the agent, and that's only the remaining part that is the revenue share earned by the club that will be locked inside the club, and that that the user will need to upgrade their club, so basically buy the club to get access to these rewards.
Perfect. So with these clubs, you said all of the trial clubs are not on chain.
Yes.
Do the leagues that they go into, are they just competing against other trial clubs, or are they put into regular Flint leagues that where people who have purchased clubs, like, are the new people competing against just other trial clubs, or are they actually competing in regular Flint leagues?
So for that, it will the original idea is to really like let them compete and be added to the normal league. So with the classic the normal algorithm that we have, when we have new clubs, they are randomly distributed inside the leagues. That's the original idea. That's not 100% sure that's what we're going to do. I think one important fact that we will see is also the number of free trial club that there will be with this new feature, basically. Because if you end up to have if we have like 200 clubs, 200 free trial clubs, or if we have like 2,000, it's really something like different. So in this case, we will probably need to do the things differently. We can imagine that they are like evenly, like all the Flint club, like the clubs are evenly distributed inside the leagues, or they have their separate leagues playing in Flint. So for the moment, it's still a point to be decided, and we need a bit more estimation or sense of how many clubs it will represent to really decide on that. But the main idea is that they are like distributed in the different leagues.
Okay. There's another kind of not a bit of an off topic, but I'll bring it back onto the topic. Dominic said, will the club prices ever drop on the MFL side? And so like whether you buy the club right away or you do a trial club and then buy it at the end, that is going to be still the same introductory price, correct?
Yes.
And you and I have talked about this previously of like what happens if you guys drop the prices of like an introductory club. And I was wondering if you could kind of explain like why you've decided to keep the price where it is right now.
Yeah. So and just to answer, like to give a more deep answer to, so we plan the price to stay the same on the clubs, for example. So even if you've played one full season, or the price of the club will be always the same. So $80 for the moment. That's something that we're thinking probably to have like some for the users that have used a free trial, maybe to really encourage them to buy, to get some like a promo code or something like that, where they get I don't know, $20 off their club, etc. So to encourage, and we know that the conversion rates are much higher when you offer a promotion to someone. So
Sure.
Our aim, of course, is to convert as many users as we want. But that's only like a promotion that you get if you've done like a lot of effort, because you've played it means that you've played 6 weeks, that you created your team, etc. And so that's not something that we want to give like that. And to answer your question on why we want to keep the price of the club this high, and it's because we think that if we start to sell clubs to, let's imagine, $30, it will create like a devaluation of all the assets of the current owners, because there will be no incentive at all for a new user to buy something on the marketplace. So it means that if you want to sell the club that you purchased $80 to $70, for example, you won't be able, because some people will just, like the new user, will just need to buy a pack for $30 if we were like lowering the price of the club pack. So that's why we want to keep an entry price. And if our entry price is higher than the price of the marketplace, then that's fine. Then it's an arbitrage from the new users. They want either they want to buy a pack from us because they want to find a random location, etc. Or like if they want to go the cheaper way, they go on the marketplace, and so that makes another user happy because he managed to sell his club. And so we don't want to really compete with our community.
I'm glad we were able to get that out, because there was a part when you were with Jimbo the other day, just talking about, obviously you guys are trying to create a great platform that lots of people enjoy and have fun, but you also have bills to pay, and running a company, you do have to make some revenue. And so it would be easy for you to just reduce the price of the clubs so that people just buy them directly from you and not from the secondary market, which is where all your users are trying to sell clubs. And so it's obviously a very tough balancing act when you're the platform and you have to make some revenue while also allowing your users to feel like they can make a return of some kind. And so I thought your explanation of why the club prices is staying where it is was just a great example of like how you guys obviously are really considering your users as opposed to just kind of trying to maximize your own revenue. So anyway,
no, but actually it's a good point, because that doesn't mean that we won't have at some point some clubs that are cheaper, but like, and that's why like we are thinking like, I already spoke about that, like for example, to have like continental leagues, for example, or continental divisions, where you have like the North America, South America, Europe, etc. That's still something that we are thinking and that we are exploring. But and then you could have like, for example, this club that have maybe less rewards, or they have like different utility, or like or less probably less rewards, like different usage, because they cannot allow you to play in the same competitions, etc. Here they could be cheaper because it's a different kind of club. It's for a different kind of user, because what I think is that, of course, like we've done the free trial, it's easier to get on board, but still paying $80 is still a lot of money for a game. And so probably we'll find also a way to reduce this club price, and maybe having lower leagues or competitions that are with less reward and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So along with this, you guys have also kind of redone the onboarding, because you obviously need a different onboarding process with a free to play option. What did you guys think was like the most important part of this process to get users familiar with like how to play MFL basically?
But the main thing that we saw is that it was hard. Like even after you purchase your first club or you purchase your first players, then it was a bit hard to know what should I do next.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we were like, and we of course we are seeing a lot of products. We saw different approach to that, and we were thinking like we need something to guide you that is pretty simple. It's, you can have tutorials, but tutorials, okay, that guides you, but that doesn't really create an incentive. That's you see it once, then you never know how to pop it again and stuff like that. So it has also a lot of flaws. And so we wanted something like, if you have like we call that an onboarding checklist, but I think like mission board or something like that is much better. That's more our internal name probably. But to have a mission board where you can you have some kind of quest that will give you access to a few MFL. We think that's a good thing, because it teaches you, okay, now you need you've built your there is different part of the thing. There's getting started, so it's get your club, sign one player, sign one player from another agent. So there's different tasks, and then after that you have like build your squad, for example, and then we tell you, okay, now you need to sign 18 players for your club, because you need 18 players to really play for an entire season. Then we explain you how to choose your formation and lineup, this kind of stuff. We guide you to do these actions so that you understand the product fully, and if you do each step, you get some a few rewards. Then you can claim some packs, etc. So that gamifies this experience to discover the game, and we think it will increase the retention. It will allow more users to understand the game. It also creates some interesting stuff in the for new users. Like we've had a lot of new users that were saying, I arrive, I don't have any MFL, and then I cannot send a few players to the dev center, for example. I have to wait for one season. So that's not a great experience, because you're kind of feeling you're missing out for your players. So if we give them a few MFL, maybe they won't have enough for all their players, but at least they will have some options here to send a few players to the dev center and stuff like that. So that allows you to have a better approach and better first impression with the game, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I remember just that issue when I joined, and I obviously joined in the middle of a season, but it was that, oh, I can send this player to the dev center, and I was like, oh wait, I just joined, I have no MFL, I'll just wait until my season ends. I obviously joined kind of mid-season, and I had said for a while that I find that joining mid-season doesn't necessarily give you an advantage the following season, but the Redemption Cup allows you to just learn how to play the game. But obviously that's a situation where you already have to buy in. And so it's not, we've gone from the idea of buying a club and playing hopefully a number of games. I was terrible in the Redemption Cup, so I think I only played 6, but to a full season that really gives you the whole experience of the regular season, the cup, and being able to work on your rotations throughout. And so it really is like you're playing a full MFL. You're getting the full MFL experience for free, and then at the end you can decide whether you want to do that. Continue it. I really can't picture many people going through an entire season if they are staying active the entire time and getting to the end and saying, that's actually not, I don't want to play this game. Like it's a pretty significant, it's a pretty significant draw once you're in. It keeps you really engaged. It's obviously a very fun platform that probably everybody watching right now is sitting there like, yeah, it's great. This is why we play. You told the story with Jimbo that I'm going to ask you to kind of retell here. Was it an EAFC streamer that you guys worked with and basically got lots of interest, and then the whole question of like, why do I have to buy right away?
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting. So as I was explaining, like now that we've done like the photorealistic, we want to get our product in front of the mainstream audience. So we started discussion with different EAFC streamer in I think end of July, something like that. And so we signed a deal with one French streamer that has a large community, etc. And so we signed a deal to make some ads in his videos. So we have a few videos where we were doing some ads in the video that he was doing. It was like 60-80 seconds long. Quick promotion of MFL where you can understand the game, etc. To put more eyes on our product, and we saw like very, very good results in terms of the numbers that were creating an account. And to give you an example, we had like I think the first for the first 2 videos that we had, like we had more than 1,000 accounts created. So that's pretty big when you look at the size of MFL, the community, etc. So 1,000 new account created is really, really large. And the issue and the problem that we saw was really the conversion rate here. Like a lot of people were like, okay, I need to buy a club for $80. That's too expensive. I did like so that's really what we saw like with the mainstream audience, that it's hard for them like to get them spend like $80 like that. If you look, it's probably more expensive than it's more expensive than Football Manager, for example, that's here for probably 30 years. So of course, when you have a brand, when you are like you're a name that is recognized, etc., that counts a lot, and that helps people to spend. But for us, we are like relatively new, we are not super well known, etc. So when you ask somebody like to spend $80, that's a lot of effort. And so that's also like what helped us to really prioritize that, because when you see this, you always think that we should do that would be a good idea. But then when you do a partnership, when you spend money and then you see that you don't have a strong conversion, then it makes it more real. And so that's also what makes us, let's say, let's push a bit more on this topic.
So will there be an opportunity to, like a smaller opportunity, let's say season 9 already, we're already into season 9. You don't necessarily, like, I think that's kind of one of the big issues with MFL is like, if you want to join mid-season, it's easy to now, if you buy a club for the secondary market, you can start right away. If you buy, in the first half, then the Redemption Cup is there. Will there be a free-to-play cup option in the middle, or are you kind of like sorry, you got to wait for season 10?
No, I think that's something that where we need to improve, and so to create more Redemption Cup. To be honest, I don't like this name of Redemption Cup. I think we will change it. I don't know. For me, redemption is like something like you've done something bad, and so you arrive on the website and you are like in the Redemption Cup. So I think we will change it. Like maybe it will be called, I don't know, the Starter Cup, or I don't know what the name, but something a bit more positive. But that's not the real important topic. But yeah, I think we need to improve and to have like more competition like that you can join mid-season for new users. So the complexity when you do that we had previously was that you never know how many people are going to join. So if you start to create a cup that has and you say it's going to start next Monday, for example, then you don't know if you're going to have like 2 clubs, 3 clubs, because sometimes you can have like on some periods when it's not the beginning of the season, you can have really a few number of people that really join the platform. Or if it's going to be 50, because sometimes we have like even in the middle of the season, depending of the so sometimes you don't really know why, but you have like more users that are coming at this period. So I think with this free trial club, I think it will allow us to have more clubs that can compete. So it will be also easier to create a competition, because of course it's going to be much more easier to have like 10, 15, 20 new users that join the platform, because it's free. And so yeah, I think that's going to be easier for us, and that's something that we want to do, like to have probably a bit more competition where you can that you can join if you join a mid-season or something like that.
So what happens if so many people join that Flint is full for the trial clubs?
First,
feels like a fantastic problem to have, but let's just say we have it.
No, that would be a great problem to have, of course. I think there's a really thin probability of that, but still possible. But I think if that happens first, it's for this season, I think everybody will play in Flint, even if I think in Flint we have probably around 6,000 clubs. I don't have the exact number, like the max capacity of Flint normally is 6,000 clubs and something. But even let's say we have 8,000 clubs, I think everybody would compete in Flint. That's not a big problem, actually. We can have like the bottom of the pyramid that is a bit higher. And actually it won't change much, because we know that out of these 8,000 clubs, we won't have all of them that will be purchased. So not all of them will go up, etc. And so that will not create like an issue where you cannot promote people, etc. That would be the main issue, but it wouldn't create it, because we know that 8,000 we don't have 8,000 clubs that will convert. And if we have 8,000 clubs, I will be more than happy. That means that like MFL is really booming, and then we will see like what we can do. Like either we create another division, or we create like these new leagues or stuff like that. But in any case, it's always a good problem to have.
Yes, I'm gonna hope that you have that problem one day. Hopefully soon. Aled here said, have you thought about reworking the dev center into more of an academy system, which could be cheaper clubs for new players? You kind of like touched on it a little bit. I think it was one of those like, yes, we have plans for some, off in the distance, but not necessarily a priority for now. But I do remember you kind of did touch on the idea of academy clubs at some point.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know what's in the opinion, like for the person that has the question, what it really means by academy club or something like that. On our side, what we think, an idea that we really like is that each club could come with a youth academy. So that's probably something different that he has in mind. I don't know exactly what he has in mind, but the idea that we have is like, for example, each club comes with his youth academy. So that means that every season, depending on where you play, which the level, etc., we have different ideas on how to really create that. You could generate new players that will be young player, probably between 16 to 20, something like that. That you can then integrate in the MFL ecosystem. You would need to pay some dollars to get them into the ecosystem, and then that could allow us to generate new players. And then I think that creates a very interesting opportunity for the club to like be kind of a value producer, like like they will generate new players that you can decide to. You can get an arbitrage. Do I want to put him on the market and use it in the MFL ecosystem or not, etc. And we think that creates a new gameplay core loop that can be also very interesting. So that's really something that we think that we would like to have at some point, and a lot of things to think about, because it changes a lot of stuff, especially in the economy. It changes how players are introduced as a primary way. At the moment, it's mostly via drops, pack drops. But if we start to do that, then it's shifted a bit the model, and so it reduced the number of drops that we can do, because there will be some primary supply that will come from somewhere else. So That's still some stuff that we're not 100% sure, that we don't really know, but that's an idea that we have.
Speaking of the drops, the last few have been, I'll just call them slower than the ones that we saw kind of in the summer, which I think I get some blame for that in terms of the interest from earlier. But do you guys, like, given that I'm not sure you're expecting lots of people who are on trial clubs to like be going for packs, whether it's preseason or midseason, but has there been any thought of how the economics of pack drops will work with these trial clubs? I know we're like, the trial clubs are all, the idea is you can play for free, but there are inevitably going to be people who get a free club and then see this pack drop and are like, that looks fun, I'll try to buy some packs there. So have you guys thought of how that one leads kind of affects the other?
Yeah, I think for the so just to come back on the previous drop, etc. So I think we saw a very, very large influx of new users in March, April, May, something like that. Like around when you really started to talk about MFL, there was also NEP that started, Work the Space. So there was a lot of content creator that really started, and of course that's something that we see, like the first few weeks, first few months when a content creator is joining, then there's a new community that gets that start to know the product, and so that creates a boom of new users for this period, and then the number of the new people that the content creators brings start to decrease a bit, and then it gets a bit more stable and something like that. So and that's the normal stuff. That's the normal acquisition. Like you see a new product, you have like a wave, and so we had a lot of new users at this time. I think we took a bit of time to really realize it, and so we took a bit of time to increase the supply compared to this wave of new users. So I think we had the people arriving in March, April, May. We really started to increase in May, June, July, something like that. The quite significantly to really match with the demand, because our aim is always to match the supply and the demand. And so I think for time being, the market has skyrocketed, kind of like the prices have increased a lot, and so we saw the effect with the new supply that makes the price go down a bit. And so, but in the end, it's more like it had become to probably a point similar to where it was before. So it's I think what happened is more that there was a readjustment of the supply back to where it was than a very big boom in supply. That being said, we saw like the effect. We are measuring the KPIs. We are measuring a lot of stuff to stabilize the supply, and we saw with the last drop that we had that we couldn't stay at this level of supply, and so that we had to reduce it, and that's why we reduced the drop, last drop, and we like the next drop would be also smaller than the big one that we had before. And for the impact of the trial club on the drops, it's always hard to really predict. I don't think it will have. Not sure it will have a huge effect on this season drop. I'm more expecting that it can have an effect on next season 10, because I think logically what should happen, and what we think will happen, and what we hope will happen, is that a lot of people will join now with this free trial club, and so we'll see a percentage of them convert, and so that will create still a significant amount of new users that will join in season 10. So probably more in season 10 we can see the effect, and maybe we will need to adjust the supply at this moment.
This question just popped up in my head, so I'm gonna ask it now. If somebody comes in and is in the middle of a season of a trial club and decides, as most of them I'm sure will, that they love this platform, they love the game, and they buy another club, does that do anything to their trial club opportunity at the end of the season? Like if they buy, they're competing in Flint and they say, you know what, I love this, I'm in, and they go buy like an ice team off the secondary market and run that for the rest of the season. So they have 2 clubs. Does that affect the trial club at all?
No, it doesn't affect the trial club. Really, what we are looking how it's made technically, basically, it's that you can create a trial club if you've never like bought a pack or bought a pack on bought a club pack or bought a pack on the marketplace. So if you arrive, you create your free trial club, and then you buy a pack after that. You have the same experience as if you for your trial club. You have the same experience as if you haven't buy this club pack.
You kind of made a comment that during the stream with Jimbo, that like you do have a number of users who have multiple clubs, and having one club tends to not be not that it's not enough, but people like the experience so much that they want to keep doing it. Have you continued to see people like the number of clubs per player increase basically over the last few months?
I think it has increased a bit, because at some point we were at 1.8, probably when there was the boom of new users, and so now we're probably around 2.2 or 2.3, something like that. So we're seeing an increase of the number of clubs. I think around 2 is a good target, and average around 2 is probably a good target. And yeah, actually that's super fun. I was measuring the retention of if you so that's a bit technical, but we are analyzing some cohorts, and so I was analyzing some the number, for example, of people that joined for let's say season 4. They have a total of let's say, imagine there is 100 people that join this month, and so they have like 100 club. They have on average one. And so if you look at how much are still playing in season S+1, S+2, etc., we analyze that. And so if you analyze, of course, the number of users, you have something like first season you have 100%, then you have like maybe, I think we are close to 90% in the second season, etc. So you measure your retention rate. And an interesting way to analyze that is to measure the retention rate by number of clubs.
Yeah.
And so what you see is that the retention rate is higher than 100%, because we have a sticky product, people stay, and they get also another club. So in the end, sometimes you have a retention rate that is close to 130, 130% or something like that. So that's quite funny, and that's what we see. We see people getting new clubs, and because they enjoy the game, which is great, and that's what we want to do.
That literally came up kind of in my Discord today, where somebody was looking to add their 5th club, and they were trying to figure out if like 5 was a reasonable number to be able to manage it all. And somebody else was like, I have 11 and it's fine. And it was like, did you just see, I mean, obviously everybody has their different time and how much money they want to put into the platform. Although there are fairly easy ways to, just buy the club if you want to use loans and for all of your players, or do the opposite, buy lots of players and loan them all out. But it's funny to see kind of where people think the right point is for them, where somebody's concerned about whether 5 is too many, and another's like, I have 11 and I could do 3 more, 4 more, 5 more, who knows?
And you ask, trust the process.
I was going to say, when you get to 100, I'm not sure where. I'm not sure any of us could actually handle it. So there's a question here: is where the market is at the moment in terms of the number of free agents and the percentage of players that are loaned out, what you guys are aiming for? Like, do you guys look at that at all? Like, is there like a number of players that are loaned out or are available on the secondary market that you look at? Is it maybe a cohort of players and it's like where those types of players prices are? Like, what do you guys look at on the secondary market to make you comfortable that it's healthy?
So there's a lot of different KPIs that we are monitoring. One of the KPI that we like the most is the number. Like we take all the active users. So we will say, like, for example, we take like all the users that have logged in at least in the last 2 months or something like that, at least once in the last 2 months, and we look at how many clubs they have and how many players they have, and so that gives us a ratio, and we like to keep this ratio like that's a ratio that we monitor. We think that around 25 is really good. Like I think we can go a bit higher, because it's always like, it's like in any market, you if you need 25 players for your club, if you just have like a ratio of 25, for example, that's not enough, because to have like liquidity of players like flowing and moving, you need to have a bit more. So that's an economic principle. It's like when you have like a market of the employment market, you always have like you always need a percentage of the population that is unemployed, because you have people that change job, and if you don't have this number of like 3-4% of people that are unemployed, then it creates difficulties for the job market, etc. I'm not an economist, but that's something that is a concept that exists in economy. And so I think that's similar for MFL. So that's this KPI that we monitor. We also look, of course, at the price variation, the evolution of the price per different per overall. I like when we do that to exclude because when we are looking at the evolution of price, as the players tend to get older, more and more players are older at the moment, because we have before we had not. If you look at season 1, for example, we had no players above 28. So I like also to look at the evolution of price for players that are maybe between 21 and 25, or 20 and 25, to really have a price for kind of still relatively young players. So yeah, that's basically the main KPI that we have. We also like try to anticipate a bit more the demand, which is always hard to anticipate, but based on the activities that we have, etc. So that's the main KPI for the ratio, like the players that are not loaned out or something like that. To be honest, not really something that we've really monitored. That could be an interesting indicators in the end, but it's always hard to really know if it's the agent didn't manage to do it, or is not active anymore, or like active enough, or something like that. So that's also not perfect. So for the moment, that's the main KPI that we have. And for example, we've made a season report. For the first time, we've asked questions about so for people. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend to check your inbox, and you've received an inbox from us, and where we ask you about your questions about season 8. Yeah, that's this one, and I think that's a question that we have, like as an agent, how was it to find contracts for your player, and as a club owner, how was it to find players for your club,
Mm-hmm.
In the loaning system. And I think that's what we want to see also, is that is it easy, is it not easy, but also an evolution over the seasons, because we plan to have this report like every season or every 2 seasons, to measure also the evolution of user satisfaction, and this kind of metrics that are important, so we can also have a trend on that.
Do you guys analyze the kind of average ratings of like each teams in each division? And obviously you did, in order to kind of set out the minimum ratings for it, but do you guys pay much attention to that season to season of like, an average 75 was perfectly fine in stone once and now it's a high spark team. Like, how much do you guys look into those sort of those numbers?
Yeah, it's something that we do. I wouldn't say like every season, but it's something that we check like every 2 seasons or every few seasons to really like understand a bit more like how the game is evolving. The thing is that, of course, it will always increase. At the moment, it's first it was increasing like because we had for the first time like player progression. So of course it was
Sure.
increasing because players were progressing, and so that's the first thing. It's also something that will increase because the more user we have, the more supply we can create, and so it creates like the number of let's imagine, like, let's take an easy example. At the moment there's I don't know how many 97 players there are in the game, but let's imagine there are 10 maybe. I don't know how far I am, but let's imagine there are 10. Tomorrow we have like if we have a user base of 1 million user, then we need like probably a 25 million MFL players. Then there will be like maybe 1097. So it will change, of course. The concentration of player will change, and so as the user base grow, these numbers grow in the division which overall you need in each division.
The answer is 14.
14.
Number of players, 97. So 10 was a pretty good guess. I'm going to make this the last question here. I'm very excited about this possibility, but Vernon said, during the Wendercast, you referenced geographic leagues. If geographic leagues are implemented, will we see more competitions like a Champions League, Club World Cup, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. It opens up the room for that. What is like, if we like what I like with the geographic league also was that if we were to do that, it can create also like some start of the season that are not the same for all the leagues, and so that allows any user, when you arrive, you know that next week or in a few days you will have the start of a competition, and so you will be able to always play, which I think is very, very important in MFL. That's a huge blocker at the moment when you join mid-season. You like the retention. I think we should measure that, like the retention on people that join early at the beginning of the season and the retention of people that join in the middle of the season. There's probably a good difference, significant difference. But yeah, so that could be some stuff that we do. The complexity here is that if the seasons are not the same timing, that it creates like complexity. So that we would need to see how we can do that. At the moment, we see like the top pyramid that is like kind of the World Cup of the club, kind of, also, because it's not a cup, but it's a big division where there are all the clubs. And so if we create continental leagues, we would see it like this. We have like this top pyramid at the top that is the current pyramid that could be the World Championship or something like that. So that's already a bit of the top clubs, But yeah, I know that there's always this question of new competitions that could be, but it's also complex because we already have 2 competitions with the cup and the league. So how you make it fit everything? So yeah, that's some ideas that we also have, but I don't know if and when we will be able to do them.
I was going to say that was the last one, but Ranjan just got one in very quickly. Has the team forecasted what season retires will be, meaning like players, the number of players who will retire after a season, and compared that to new players via pack drops and MFL reward packs? So basically like players moving out versus players moving in.
Yeah, definitely. That's also something that when we analyze like a player drop, we also look at, of course, we try to anticipate the demand and the supply. At the moment, there's not really a reduction of the supply because there's not a lot of player retiring. It will probably arrive at a more important rate in season 10, I think, 10 to 12, something like that, where we will see the very first player that were generated that will start to massively retire. And then we will probably also see like a reduction of the number of players that will retire, and then it will be the cohort of players that were created during this April boom that you created. So that it's not always linear, etc. So yeah, definitely we are monitoring that, and we know that if there are a lot of retirements, that's probably something where we can have more pack drops. That can be also like a way to like not doing more pack drops, but reducing the supply depending on the economy and how the economy is working. But yeah, that's something that we are taking into account.
And just confirming this last thing, that any sort of regional split would be below the current pyramid, not splitting the current one.
Yes, that's more the idea. Maybe we would offer the choice to some users, like or like you can decide if you want to stay in the world pyramid or in the regional pyramid. Like you can choose it. If we need also to have a pool of clubs that can like fill this continental competitions. But just to make sure it's clear, it's still hypothesis. It's not something that we are sure to do. That's something that we like and that we are exploring, but there's still a lot of stuff to really define and then to implement them technically, etc. That's another thing, and we are not there yet.
Well, you have 6 weeks until, or let's call it 8 weeks until the 8,000 people sign up with their trial clubs and buy them all at the end. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on that we didn't get to?
No, just we're going to have like just a little teaser about an event that we're going to have. So on next Tuesday we're going to have an event. I won't go into the details, but we're planning to have a community event with alliance, with kind of stuff like that. We will explain that next week, but we wanted to create this kind of fun event and to have fun with the community. So we've done that a lot. I think before season 1 and yeah, in the past, and we've done it a bit less because we were like really busy with the managing all the game that takes a lot of energy, a lot of resources. And I think that's something that I've been missing. So we are creating a tournament for the beginning of season 9. So it will start. It's not really a tournament. It's something a bit different. It's you'll see that, but be ready, be there, and that's going to be fun. There's going to be some rewards to win. So yeah, we are looking forward to it. You know what it is, Laird. You already know. So.
I'm not sure how dumb I'm supposed to play. No, it's a very cool idea. And so yeah, Tuesday, we'll find out. Or you will all.
Maybe you will be able to play with Laird. We'll see. In his alliance, maybe.
There we go. Let's go. I actually have a lot of work to do because I'm going to be competing. Anyway. Matt, thanks so much for the time. It's always great hearing from you. If anybody, I think we covered everything, but obviously if anybody hasn't listened to your chat with Jimbo over on the Wendercast, certainly do that as well, because it's always great to hear from you. So thank you for that. Thank you to everybody for coming. Congrats to all the league winners. Good luck to everybody in their playoffs. And with all of that, please make sure you get outside.